What's going on, everyone? What's happening? Another day in paradise. Here we are. It's Friday. It's the day after the big news of Carson Wentz not being here in Philadelphia. It's a crazy world we live in. It's a crazy, crazy world. But I do know the coffee is here. I'm taking the lid off this time because it's almost like it stays hot too damn long. It's finally hitting you that Wentz is gone. Finally, huh? Yeah, it's going to be weird. There's going to be an adjustment period. That's for damn sure. It's going to be a little weird for, I'd say, I don't know, another week or so until it really digests. I don't think it just takes one day and then your digestion is, in full effect. I really still can't believe we actually got a third. What do you mean by that? Are you saying that they should have got more and they didn't? I mean, like, you totally disregarded the biggest part of the trade. There was that second conditional pick that moves into a first if Carson Wentz plays 75% of the snaps or if they make the playoffs and he plays 70% of the snaps. So they got more than that. Off to Tim Hortons to get a cup of Joe. Dude, I love nice Timmy Ho-Ho's coffee in the morning. Obviously, I don't get an opportunity to rip through Timmy Hortons like that, but damn, I'm jealous. Do I like Wentz? Yeah, I like Wentz. Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of these reports and stories and this and that, I think a lot of it is, a little overblown, and I think there's truth to it. So for everyone who is ripping into who he is as a person and he's some douchebag, like I do think it gets carried away a little bit. Lakers got exposed. Well, the Lakers didn't have Anthony Davis. But the Brooklyn Nets, they are starting to put the pieces together a little bit. When you look at the Eastern Conference, there was never really that team that fully jumped out at you. I think the Brooklyn Nets are starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy because they are a scary duo. I'm just upset knowing Wentz and the Colts will have a deep playoff run. And we will be stuck at 5 wins. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that the Colts are structurally set up better than the Eagles right now. But that's what you get when you won a Super Bowl in 2017. And then the franchise committed in 2018, 2019 to try and squeeze out another one. They had the lemon. They were squeezing the juice to try and get another Super Bowl, paying the veterans, paying the older guys. And then now you're at the downfall of that where you have a ton of money on your cap book. And you got to figure things out that way. So, yeah, there's no doubt, Kyle, that it looks like the Colts are going to have some success here, and they're in a better position to succeed. But you know what? You can only control so much of that. You can only control so much of that. So what? So he goes to another area, and so what if he ends up succeeding? It wasn't going to work here. And we should figure out why. We should come down to figuring out why that is, and I think we all know the answer here. But figuring that out at this point, because it's too far gone. So now that we're in this position, now we have to talk from being in this position. Not why did it get here? Like, at this point, we're here. So now that we're here, you need to assess it that way. And with that, it is what it is with him. He's going to have success. He's not a bad quarterback. He's not what half of this fan base thinks he is, which is some bum, some bad player. He'll get under Frank Reich, and he'll end up playing well. But that doesn't mean that necessarily it would have related to anything that happened here. Yes, Philly. Furcon for MVP. Now, I'm getting yelled at to take my hat off. And I've been through this before. Everyone always asks me, Brodes, what the hell are you doing? Why are you wearing that hat? And it's the most simple answer in the world. It's blue. It's blue, and I like the hat. I don't know why people get their panties in a bunch when it comes to not wearing a Sixers hat or not wearing this. It's a hat. It's a hat. I like the fit. I like the color. I like the scheme. It's a hat. Do you think Ben's hold on. What if I told you in 2017, by 2021, our Super Bowl head coach and MVP quarterback would be shipped out? Jimmy, I know. It's absolutely ridiculous. It really is. It really, really is. Brandon, what's up, Brodes? What's going on, Brandon? Thanks for coming in. The Cowboys are blue. Yeah, but that has nothing to do. I'm not wearing a Cowboys hat. That would be out of line. If I wore a Cowboys hat, then we could have the discussion of a violation. But wearing an OKC Thunder hat, look, they're out west. There's no personal ties. There's no relationship here between the Sixers and the Thunder for it to really bother anybody. This is such a weird year. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. LeBron James is going to choose Joel Embiid for his All-Star team. Yeah, I would too. I mean, geez, have you seen Joel Embiid ball this season? I would too. I'd be picking his ass. Brodes, do I think that Jalen Fields will be the pick? Do I think the Eagles are drafting Justin Fields? I think they have everything on the table. I think that they are going to look at quarterbacks. I think that they are going to figure out if a quarterback has a better future than Jalen Hurts and a significant better future in their eyes to pick 6. If it's maybe he has a better future, but it's not a franchise changing type move, then maybe they don't elect to do it. I think Jalen Hurts deserves the opportunity to prove himself. It's your job or it's not your job. Let us know, though, by throwing him out there. You took him in the second round for a reason. So how come now he's just not good enough and you can't move forward with him whatsoever, but at the time of the draft, you fancied him so damn much that you had to utilize a second-round pick? Things just don't add up. But there's a lot of things that don't add up when it comes to this franchise. And, I wouldn't be shocked if they took another quarterback, and here we are with the quarterback factory. Would I trade up for Zach Wilson? Zach Wilson, personally, for me, doesn't move the needle to do that. That's my personal opinion. He doesn't move the needle for me to that level. Vincent chimes in to say, Paul Reed is balling in the G League. Yeah, a lot of these Sixers beat guys are kind of throwing around Paul Reed stats night in and night out because the guy's going on a tear, which is kind of funny. We need to build the other positions on this team, then get a new toy at quarterback. Well, I'll counter with this. While I'm not disagreeing that there's many other problems, the most important position in sports is the quarterback. So if there's other holes, but you go get your quarterback, so you labeled it a toy. But if the franchise thinks it's their guy, that's not a toy. That's your franchise guy. So if you are in a position to get your quarterback and you have 10,000 other holes, you get your quarterback. What's more important, a wide receiver, a linebacker, an outside corner, or a quarterback? The answer's a quarterback. So if they value whoever's up there as their guy, then I think they need to go get their guy over the wide receiver. You can find another wide receiver, but quarterbacks, the one that you feel is right, isn't there every single season. And you're not at the draft capital to do that every single season. That's another big part of it. So, look, I can't write it off because they need a wide receiver and they need a linebacker. It has to be in play. It has to be. Hurts definitely showed flashes last season, but with a proper defensive game plan, his flaws really showed. Yeah, for sure, adjustments, but Doug Peterson wasn't making adjustments. The second half was bad, not only because of Jalen Hurts, but because the coach. And now you have a different coach. Does Ben Simmons have a legit case for Defensive Player of the Year? I would imagine so. But you know that they're very biased towards the big men. Justin's 21st birthday was on the same day as Super Bowl 55. Nice. Did you have a nice birthday? Timeline for the Ertz trade. That's a great question. It really is. And we had Rob Motti on of the Associated Press on the Sports Bash yesterday, and I kind of asked him about Zach Ertz and what do you think his value is, and he said you would imagine in that like third round-ish. He said second, third, but I would imagine more in that third round-ish than the second. In terms of a timeline, I don't know. I really don't know. It doesn't seem like there's a screaming market for him, although he's still a good player. I don't think it's a lack of talent or anything. Maybe it's the Eagles wanting to get rid of Wentz first, and now they're dialed into more of a Zach Ertz trade. They wanted to get the Wentz thing off their hands and wash up a bit, and now it's okay. What else can we do? let's figure out everything. We know Malik Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey, the post-June 1 is in play for their contract, so that's going to be coming off the books. Although you do take some dead cat money hits for that. With Ertz, maybe it's, okay, what's going on next? There were reports about maybe Seattle because they tried things in the past with the tight end position. Didn't really work. Now you could have Russell Wilson and Zach Ertz. That would be scary. That would be scary. Jared turned 20 today. Well, happy birthday, Jared. Happy birthday. How do I feel about JT Realmuto's injury? Yeah, that's a good question. Falling in all between all this stuff, right? JT Realmuto has a hand injury here that's going to keep him out a couple weeks or so. He made a team, because he spoke yesterday, he made a team do not worry about it at all. And the fact that he personally got up there and said if he was a Phillies fan, he wouldn't be worried about it. He wouldn't be worried about it. I know that this is player speak, and maybe I'm falling into the trap, but it would be different if Dombrowski or Joe Girardi said that. I don't know why. If it's the same message, it's the same message, but I would feel differently about it because it was JT. I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be all right. Let's hope so. As we get closer, maybe my opinions change. As we get more information, it's getting thrown under the radar right now because of what's happening with Wentz. And speaking of throwing under the radar, the Fly Guys last night, they got back to action and they lost in a shootout to the New York Rangers. Let's get some hockey love. Were you as impressed as I was with that line? That line. Dude, that Sushko kid played 4.5 minutes. A little bit more than that. I'll give him a little bit. He played about 5 minutes or so. Jeez. There was that one shift where all three of them should have had a penalty. No, it was Robert Haig, Andrioff, and Sushko. I mean, all I know about the kid is he's a 2017 fourth rounder who played in the O for a couple seasons. Flyers seriously need help when it comes to defensemen. Can't rely on Carter Hart being a brick wall. You're right, Carmen. Carter Hart was great last night, though. That was a super fun watch to watch him make some big-time saves. Buchnevich comes in on a breakaway. Carter Hart with a beautiful glove save. Then he had the penalty shot. He gets him again, waits him out. He had a tough couple of moments in that shootout, though. But what are you going to do? When Kakko and Panarin come down with that type of poise, a good luck. A good luck. Arm Zebra says, I'm not upset with the outcome. Now, are you talking about the Flyers loss or are you talking about the Carson Wentz trade? Which one are you okay with or not upset with the outcome? Two different scenarios. The defense is letting Carter Hart down, says Kevin Cooper on YouTube. There is something to be said about Carter Hart's lack of defense in front of him, for sure. Mental breakdowns, bad passes along the wall. That second goal by Smith to take the 2-1 lead for the Rangers. What happened along the wall? And then what happened in this slot area where they just allow guys to take shots? The problem I do have there is, like, I'm upset with what happened in front of Hart, but then I'm also disappointed in Hart with the lack of rebound control that allowed Smith to be wide open backdoor. Okay, so Arm Zebra said he's not upset with the outcome with the Flyers. That's fine. Yeah, you're missing so many guys. 5 forwards or maybe 6 forwards. What was it? Voracek, Lawton, Lindblom, Giroux, Konechny. Am I missing anybody? And then Justin Braun. So is it 6 total? You're in a significant disadvantage. Dark horse for the Phillies this year. Connor Brogdon. Yeah, Connor Brogdon and Joe Romero were like the only players last year that gave you a little bit of hope and optimism entering the season. For sure. So, yeah, he had some electric stuff. He really did. He had some electric stuff that I'm excited to see him go. I can't wait for Phillies baseball. I really do have the tickle under my nuts. It was a buyer's market. Eagles simply had few options. Get what you can or keep disgruntled quarterback. Yeah, for sure. There was one team in play. The fact that you can possibly get a first-round pick and a good chance. It's not an outside chance. It's not there's a good chance. Look, there's a chance that it doesn't work out too. There is another side to this. But for the most part, you look at it like there is a really decent chance of getting a first-round pick. There was one team in play. So to think that that's possible when you were hearing 2 second-rounders a couple weeks ago from Ron Jaworski as the offer that he heard about, well, that means they got the Colts to jump up a bit. They had the Colts bet against themselves. So that is true. Do I think the Leafs can get past the first round this year? Christian, I really do. I really do. Yeah, there's something to be said about this Toronto Maple Leafs team. They're better defensively. I think Freddie Anderson has played strong. Look at this. Toronto Maple Leafs talk with the coffee. I love it. If you had to pick, would you want Hurts, Fields, or Zach Wilson for the Eagles quarterback next year? Once again, I know this is a hot topic only because, everyone wants to know what you're going to do at the quarterback position. But it really doesn't matter how I feel about them. Like, it just depends on how this team values those quarterbacks over Hurts. My opinion, I would want them to keep going with Hurts over those guys. Those two guys don't pop sexy to me. Those names aren't sexy. The prospect, it's not a sexy prospect. You can find sexier. The problem is you're drafting 6, and who knows if you're going to be drafting 6 every year. I know right now it seems that way, but that's not how this league works. You can rebuild quicker than you think. I don't think it's going to be 7 years of drafting up in the top 5. I don't. Historically speaking, the Eagles don't do that. So you got to weigh it out. Tyler is still keeping the Wentz jersey. Well, that's better than, like the burn it people or anything like that. Like, that gets ridiculous, right? I can never support that. Remember, we're a quarterback factory, Brodes. That was one of the dumbest statements ever. We've had some horrendous statements out of some individuals here in Philadelphia sports this year, whether it's the stupid money, if we don't, we don't. When Andy McPhail was talking about making the playoffs and having a playoff push, when John Middleton spitballed the second half bullpen ERA, what an embarrassment. The quarterback factory, you name it. There was some dumpster fire quotes thrown out by highly regarded Philadelphia members. Yeah, Walker to the Mets. He's getting the physical, but as of right now, he's getting signed. Yeah, Joey, a Walker to the Mets is something I woke up and I wasn't jumping up for joy about. That's for damn sure. That's something that, look, you continue to see this Mets team grab pieces. How about Francisco Lindor? All right, the guy's a stud. The guy's so easy to root for. I loved him in Cleveland with the Indians. Fantastic player. Good dude. Good for the game of baseball. And now I got to hate him? How am I going to hate him? I never will. I'll be honest with you. It probably will be like Sidney Crosby. You think I hate Sidney Crosby? Hell no. And I never will. I love him. And I root for him to succeed. The difference is, there is a little difference. The connection isn't as strong. But I love Francisco Lindor. And I'm interested to see how he plays. Sean thinks I have a Brandon Manning jersey. Brandon Manning. What a joke. Who wins the NFC East next year? If healthy, I would have to imagine the Cowboys are in play to be the top team. Here's the thing. If Washington gets a quarterback, they just won the division with this sense of nothing there. They're just a rotating piece of crap at the quarterback position. You really think Heineke's going to be the answer, going to be the guy? I don't know. I really don't think so. I don't think he's your long-term solution. So you have a team in Washington that has the proper roster built. If I'm them, I'm going out and getting a legit quarterback. They have nice pieces in McLaurin. They got some nice players offensively. Gibson stepping into a unique role for himself. The defense, that front four. Chase Young, Montez Sweat. You got Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron. Go get yourself a quarterback and see if you can win the damn division again. Are the Eagles the worst in the NFC East? I mean, I would imagine so, right? Obviously, every year there's a surprise team that does better than you anticipate. But as of right now, to look at the division, yeah, I mean, clearly they're at the bottom right now. You have a new head coach, you have a new this, you have a new that. What are you going to do? The only thing you can think about right now is probably being last as of this moment. Brodes, can you please explain to me how Brandon Workman got a $1 million deal with the Cubs? Yeah, wait. I can't believe I just said $9 million as if I thought that's what you said. I know he signed with the Cubs on was it 1 year, $1 million? I just want to verify what it was. Oh, now I'm getting all sorts of pop-ups. What was it? Was it a one? How come it wouldn't even say that in this Chicago Cubs article? That's a little interesting, no? Regardless, I have no idea. It goes based off a track record because of before last year, when he was with Boston, his ERA was actually good. I mean, when you look at what he has done in his entire career, other than last season, Brandon Workman is worth the opportunity. All right. In 2019, oh my God, it was sub 2. I thought it was above 2, honestly. But in 2019, with the Boston Red Sox, my man had a 1.88 ERA. He was unbelievable. He gave you what you needed. And even in the years past, with how bad last year was for the Phillies, if I told you got Brandon Workman of 2018 or 2017, giving you a 3.18 ERA and a 3.27 ERA, that's night and day better than anything you had. Anything. So basing it off of last year when he had a 6.92, I mean, is it worth the shot if you're the Cubs? I guess I don't blame them for taking a shot. Now, I get why the Phillies wouldn't give him another shot, but if you're the Cubs, what the hell? Brandon Workman, my ass. Do I think Eflin is good for the third pitcher in our rotation? Jake, I always thought of him as a 4-5 guy, but a good 4-5, a respectable 4-5. If he's your 4-5, you're in a good position because then he got a good 1, 2, 3. Him being in the 3, if he plays the best Zach Eflin ball that we have seen, which I've seen it in him. I always go back to, in this game, in 2021, watching guys throw complete games is not normal. Zach Eflin puts you in the category of having a pitcher that can throw complete games, which is just not normal. So with that, if he plays, and I'm not saying I demand a complete game out of him every game. Let's not take this out of context here. But with his best ability that I've seen, if that's who he is, well, yeah, I mean, that's a respectful third. Hell, last year, Arrieta was your third. I think you can get better out of Zach Eflin than you did Jake Arrieta. Now, let's look up the numbers. I'm liking this. I'm liking this baseball talk, man. And it's funny. The title of this is Carson Wentz traded. Flyers losing a shootout. You got Sixers Bulls tonight. Here we are looking up Jake Arrieta's stats. So last year, Jake Arrieta was 4-4, although I'm not a big win-loss guy, with a 5 ERA. And the year before, he had a 4.64 ERA. But remember, he was battling a bunch of injuries. And then with Zach Eflin, this is my point is of bringing this up. You're improving the third man in your rotation. He had a 3.97 ERA, but you saw that his strikeout per 9 went up big time. 10.7. He was never in that category. Early in his career, it was under 5. Then it jumped up to 8, 7, but it was 10.7. It was almost at 11. The strikeouts per 9 was definitely a fascinating difference for Zach Eflin. And if you remember when you switched pitching coaches and the pitching coaches wanted you to deliver high fastballs, and Zach Eflin was like, I want to stay at the lower half of the plate because that's where I do better. Well, guess what? There's a difference there for him. So you potentially get hurt in the 4-5 area, but you make your 3 stronger. To answer the question, yeah, Zach Eflin, I think can do a fine job at the 3. And originally, I didn't think so. Originally, I never thought that would be the case. Reese has to go. Who wants him? Nobody. Nobody wants Reese Hoskins with this injury that went on. I mean, he had the big time injury, surgery. What's he gonna be? And by the way, he's a terrible defender. Amazing. Now I'm gonna put the lid on because now I feel like it's getting a little bit too warm for my liking. Reese doesn't have to go. I think that's a strong statement, but 3 years ago, I remember getting on in a debate with Jeff Mosher about this. He would trade Reese for a pitcher, and I said, hell no. I want Reese here. I want Reese to bat right behind Bryce Harper, so you can do some damage with something similar to that combination of Bryce Harper at the 3 hole, Reese Hoskins at the 4, and you'd have an electric 3-4 combination. Now I would do that in a heartbeat. I would have absolutely traded him for a heartbeat. And when you have Rhys Hoskins batting second, it's annoying. It's annoying. We've been through this. This OBP of the walks. You're doing yourself a disservice, Rhys. You are a better player than a guy who just walks. And I think that there are valuable walks. There's context involved. There are great walks. There are okay walks. There are walks where you're looking for a walk. And maybe if you miss a meatball down the pipe that you should have hit for a 3-run homer, but instead you work a full count and then you walk. While I understand it's not the worst thing in the world, you missed a meatball, Rhys, and you're the type of player that hits a 3-run shot to help elevate this team for a win. So I can't be satisfied with the walk because you missed a 2-1 count fastball right down the pipe. You know what I mean? And that's how Rhys Hoskins was. Pickle says, Pickle Rick, Ertz hope he stays. Is that Ertz hopes he stays? Or are you saying Ertz hopes he stays? What's the way here? Is there a comma? Ertz hopes he stays. Or Ertz hopes he stays. Two different statements there. I really hope McCutchen does not lead off at all this year. This is from Mikey. Yeah, it depends. I got to see what Andrew... I don't have high expectations for McCutchen. I think you're going to see him with some time off, and he's not going to play as much time because he's just getting up there in age. You know, he's great for the clubhouse for sure, though. Jake Elliott with the $5 donation. I'm upset the Eagles did Carson the way that he did. I'm more upset that when my grandmother died, Howie Roseman must pay. Wait, what? Oh, I'm more upset than when my grandmother died. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Howie Roseman must pay. I'm pissed. Also, good morning. Good morning to you, Jake Elliott. Yeah, the way that I broke it down is this. I really do think there is a pie here, right? There's a pie. And with that pie, it's 25 Howie, 25 Laurie, 25 Wentz, 25 Doug. When something like this happens, there's fault all around. It can't just be one man's fault. It can't just be two people's fault. Everyone has a part here. And the way I look at it is, I know people are going to say that Howie and Laurie have more pieces to the pie. Look, this is a disaster. And I know that the voices of these people are higher than Wentz's. So I do think that there's a list to this 25%, if that makes sense. And I know in theory, that means the percentage of the pie should probably be broken up into different pieces. But I do think that, look, this is like Carson has a problem here. Carson was an issue here. Howie was an issue here, but Laurie was a problem as well. And Doug made so many brutal mistakes that outside of roster construction, this and that, he was a shell of himself from whatever happened in 2017. This is a collective group issue. It is. Now, the problem is if you get rid of the 25 and the 25 and Doug and Carson, 50% of the problem is still in place. And that's if Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts is the answer. Hurts could not be the answer. Sirianni could not be the answer. Then you're back to having 100% of the issue still being here. But it is a problem that 50% of the problem is still in place. I do separate it pretty equally, though, because when a disaster happens, there's a lot that has to go wrong. A lot that has to go wrong. Well, Pickle, if you think Howie's destroying the team, then you think Laurie's destroying the team. Howie is an issue. For sure. Absolutely Howie's an issue. Nobody's saying Howie's not an issue. But everyone's an issue. Everyone had a problem. You want to talk about Doug Peterson? Let's talk about Doug Peterson last year. What are you going to do? You're probably going to rip him to shreds, right? Well, because he was part of the problem. Wentz made a bunch of mistakes in irrational throws. Well, that means he's part of the problem. Howie, Laurie, every time you talk about someone from last year of those four, you're going to rip them. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that they're all part of the problem. They're all part of the problem. So what's my predictions on how big of a lead the Sixers blow tonight? 17. 17 points is not enough. 17 points is not enough, Sean. You're probably looking more around 25. Jake Elliott comes back in with a $2 donation. Sorry, it didn't make sense. LMAO. No, it made sense. Yeah. Look, in terms of bringing up a loved one that passed away, I really do think about this a lot right now. So I had a family member that did pass away, but we got to see the Super Bowl together. And when we saw that, we always talk football, Eagles. That was our relationship. He passed away. I do think about the time we're in right now with the Eagles franchise, if he only knew. Like, I wish I could talk to him about this. I wish he could see this and experience this. I wish we could talk about what the hell happened. Because there's no way back in 2017, I know this isn't a hot take, that there would have ever been a situation ever where you thought Doug P. and Howie Roseman and Carson Wentz and all this drama would be where we're at today. I mean, he'd laugh at this, so I'm going to say he'd be rolling over, you know? It'd probably kill him if he saw this. And I only say that because I know he'd be laughing right now to hear it. He's one of those guys that would joke around about it. So, just crazy. It really is. If Roman Quinn can learn how to hit, a changeup, then he can lead off. Well, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. Furkan Korkmaz, $2 donation. Should I break Levine's ankles tonight? Yes, I would love to see a Furkan Korkmaz dribble drive, penetrate the lane, and have a beautiful reverse slam dunk for 2. Maybe get a foul involved and 1. Go to the line. Celebrate with Joel Embiid with a nice celebration. Maybe he throws an Embiid celly. You know, Joel gets the celebration, does the hip thrust. This is me doing the hip thrust on the ground. How about Furkan gets in there with a little bit of love to throw in a celebration, huh? How about that? Brodes, where do you think Joel Embiid ends up in the MVP race? If he keeps this up, I think he wins it. How can he not? If he keeps this up, I think you got to look at him as a serious, legitimate threat of winning it. I hope Doug P. and Wentz were like best friends. I'm sad to see it all fall apart. Where Jordan, I hate to break the news to you, but I saw a report today that mentioned I think Adam Schefter. Adam Schefter, I'm going to pull it up exactly. But Adam Schefter was on 97.5 The Fanatic this morning, and he said that Carson and Doug didn't talk for 9 or 10 weeks this year. So imagine that. I don't think they're just going to be best friends. I really do hate to break it to you. Jake Elliott comes back in with the $2 donation. Yeah, if Roman Quinn knew how to not blow a hamstring walking, that's another fair point. The guy can't stay healthy, but he also stinks. Game 8092569593478. That's not even his numbers. It's just an insane amount of numbers. Talk about the Sixers. Well, what do you want to know? Ask me a question about the Sixers. Am I a Thunders fan? No, I'm not. It's just a hat. I am just a fan of the hat. I bought the hat a long time ago. I think it's a nice fit. I think it's a nice color blue. I have a lot of blue clothes. Therefore, bought the hat. But I do get ripped all the time. J-Dog says, dude can steal bases, though. Yeah, Roman Quinn, it is crazy that he's going. And you know he's going, and he's going to steal all the time. I think there's a role for him, but we can't be starting Roman Quinn out in center field. We just can't be. He stinks. Unfortunately, Adam Hazley hasn't had enough opportunities to get a shot out there when you look at his at-bats. And here's the thing about the lefties. Let's bring up Adam Hazley's splits. Because, first off, it's such a small sample size, which bothers me. But if you go to his splits, and I get career, should I go career splits or just 2020 splits? I'll go 2020 because it was the most recent. Against lefties in 2020, in 15 attempts, he's hitting 400. All right, that's way too small of a sample size. And he's hitting 250. Yeah, that's too small of a sample size. We'll bring in the career. But they never give him a chance. They never do. So how do you know? Oh, I'm sorry. That was just against a left-handed starter, not a left-handed pitcher in general. In his career, in 62 at-bats, he's hitting 242 against lefties. So, look, I mean, it's not great. I'm not sitting here telling you I'm going to show you an Adam Hazley hitting 242 against left-handed pitching, but it's not as if he's hitting 170, 180, 190. 242 in a limited sample size at least deserves a chance. Here's my thing, and I'm not telling you I think he's great. I'm just saying they haven't given him a chance yet. That's all. Do I think he's going to be anything spectacular? No, I think of him as a fourth outfielder. That is my true analysis on who Adam Hazley is. And keep in mind, you drafted him 8th overall, so it's not a great thing to say. But when you just look at it from a pure, did you give the guy a chance yet? The answer is no. Against right-handing pitching, he's hitting 276. So I just don't know how in 62 at-bats you have enough knowledge of the guy. Now, I do know that he can't hit the ball in the air. Everything's on the ground, line drives. Like, you got to see more pop out of this dude. But that's not who he's going to be. So with Adam Hazley, it's disappointing, but I don't know if you have enough of a sample size. I also don't think he's good enough. Do you give him a chance? Or if you don't think he's good enough from the jump, why even give him a chance? I think he can play maybe some left field if Andrew McCutchen is going to be a guy who's older in his career and he might not play every night. Maybe you get that chance to throw him in at left field to give him some more playing time. But I do think you shouldn't write him off with lefties yet. For the organization to just do that after 60-plus at-bats, come on, give the guy a chance. Should I check the back of the milk carton for Mickey Moniak? Mickey Moniak blows. Did you see him trying to play last year? He couldn't track a ball. The guy's a professional baseball player who was the number 1 overall pick. You can't be lacking the fundamentals. You can't lack the basics of tracking a baseball out in the outfield, dude. Mickey Moniak blows. Maybe you get Sean Rodriguez back. Come on, Daniel. Don't be doing this to me. Girardi mentioned Bamboo Brad Miller as a guy who would get time for Kutch. Okay, yeah, I mean, I can see that being a thing. Bamboo Brad. I remember doing a podcast when Bamboo Brad was in its prime here, and I made the backdrop just a bunch of bamboo. So it was almost as if I was just sitting in the bamboo talking about Brad Miller. But I'll tell you what, Fran. Give me some Phillies baseball, damn it. Me and Dean go back and forth talking about the Phils. He's texting me last night. He said he's ready to go make just a quick trip down to Florida for a little spring trading action. I'm like, dude, sign me the fuck up. Here, I want to go. Thanks for the invite, ass. Top 5 worst number 1 picks. Well, I know Mickey Moniak is one. And I know Markel Fultz is the other. Moniak is one of the biggest busts in Phillies baseball. Yeah, he stinks. He can't even get on the field. He'll never play. And if he does, it's because they're trying to force him out there. I thought last year they forced him out because the Matt Klentak era was under fire and because it might be a good look that the GM who selected him, he was playing when Matt Klentak was getting a lot of criticism. But like, that's why I think he got some time. I mean, look, there were other factors into why he got some time, but Mickey Moniak stinks. And I'm disappointed with a lot of these players. Like Adam Hazley. If Adam Hazley becomes a 4th outfielder, that's a bad pick. 8th overall. You were supposed to, in this 10-year stretch of non-playoff baseball, you were supposed to do a rebuild. You were supposed to get all these prospects. Mickey Moniak is a disaster. A terrible... Like, if Adam Hazley stinks, he stinks. I don't even like Scott Kingery. Once again, role player and all. But when you sign him to the contract, it sucks. I can't believe we got this passionate in the Phillies talk here. I love it. I can't wait. I can't wait to get disgusted and pissed off. I'm going to reach out to... Last year, we got Ricky Bowe on for a analysis of the season when it was over, when they failed. This year, I'm going to try and reach out to him to see if we can do something for a preview. See if we can get Ricky Bowe on a preview podcast. So I'm excited for that. Let me plug in my phone real quick. That would be fun. That would be a good time. Get his thoughts on where this team is. I'm crazily optimistic about the bullpen, whether it's JoJo Romero, Connor Brogdon, Alvarado, Archie Bradley. I'm getting myself juiced up. I think I even heard, did Joe Girardi mention Sir Anthony Dominguez? I think I even heard a Sir Anthony Dominguez acknowledgement. Ricky Bowe spoke at your chip ceremony. Ricky Bowe's the GOAT, man. Phillies are a 5th place team. This come from Daniel. When you look at it, 5th place team, I look at it from this way. I don't think they're going to be great. Could I see them actually going over 500 this year? I could. I could see them going over 500, not by a lot. I think they're going to be in that 86 win category. But I wonder what the over-unders are. Should we look that up? Saw your Instagram story. I must say, great photography. Thank you, Jake Elliott, for the donation. Yeah, I got caught with a. Go follow me on Instagram at Brodes81. There's also at Brodes Media, which is a new account we're working on for some good clips. What am I looking up? 2021 baseball over under wins. Where are the Phillies set at? All right, this is for 2021. Full list of MLB total odds. This is on DraftKings. February 18, 2021. The Philadelphia Phillies are set at. Ooh. Uh-oh. 86. I don't know. I don't know. They're set at 80.5. So, I mean, that tells you they're hovering around that 500 area, which is not surprising at all. We would have imagined heading into this thing that they're about a 500 team because that's who they have been. And they brought back the same team, except they bolstered up the bullpen, so we think. 80 wins. But you're also, the division got better. The division got more competitive. 80 wins. Do I think they go from 80.5 to 86? I mean, it's not outrageous. It's not like I'm anticipating 90 wins on you. But the 80 almost makes me feel like I want to go down on my estimate here. Oh, man. That puts a little dagger in the heart because Vegas knows stuff. Vegas has information. Vegas is right more than they are wrong. 80.5. I'll take the over. My optimism is taking the over, damn it. Oh, what about the division? I apologize. I'll go back. You're right. That's a good look. Let's go back to the DraftKings odds here, and let's look at the Braves set at 91.5, okay? So the Braves are at 91.5. The Marlins are at 70.5, which is super, super low. The Nationals, 84.5, and the Mets are at 90.5. Wow. So the Braves, 91.5. The Mets, 90.5. So they are... That's high. Would I take the under for the Mets? And basing this off of, well, we can sit here today and go, what do you mean? The Mets just picked up all these guys. They're going to be great. It's also the Mets. There's a little bit of me that thinks, look, there's always a team that the expectations are insane because of who they are and what they picked up in the offseason, but it never translated. I know, Steve Cohen, new energy surrounding the franchise. I would take the under on the 90.5. I'd take the over on the Phils and the under on the 90.5 for the Mets. But basically, they have the Braves and the Mets within one game of each other. They got the Nationals above the Phillies by 4 games. And then they just look at the Marlins as a disaster again, which is kind of funny considering they were the team that made the playoffs last year. Core comes in and says, I'm a Mets fan, and we are not getting 90 wins. Now, I wonder if that's just part of being a pessimistic fan. One of those fans that are never happy with anything. But to be fair, the track record would show you're probably right. The Mets are overrated every year, says Brady. That's true. But there is a new regime. It's sort of like, all right, with the Washington football team, right? Everyone knew when they were the Redskins, Dan Snyder, and like it's a disaster. And it still is, and that needs to get pushed out. But my point is you bring in Ron Rivera. That's a new face. That's a new identity. That's a new philosophy. And if the Washington football team now gets new ownership and that all happens and something fresh comes out, now you look at Washington as a different organization and a new identity on who they are. You don't look at them as the same disaster. And they're starting to somewhat kind of shape themselves into that. And hopefully Dan Snyder's out of there for good. When it comes to the Mets, that's kind of a similar same spot. Brody Van Wagenen, bad. Now Steve Cohen's in there. Now you might look at them differently. They got to prove themselves. This would be the proving year, but I would take the under. I don't like long-term bets, to be honest. I do them at times, but I might even, I'm going to write this down. I'm going to write down the over-under because I don't do it normally. I do it sometimes. But I might put in a season-long bet for the Phils to hit that over number. I don't love it, though. I don't. because I wait so long. I'd rather bet on the night. All right, Aaron Nola versus DeGrom. I want to bet on that night. I want to bet on that game so I could win my money or lose my money by 11:30, as long as it doesn't go into extra innings. I'm waiting months and months and months for my Phillies win total, but I'll look into it. Pag says, my brother told me to check you out, and damn, you're entertaining. Well, thank you so much, Pags. I appreciate that. That's over on Twitch. By the way, I threw that up there just to show everyone. We are on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. So make sure you go follow on all platforms. By the way, if you did not register or enter to win, so simple. Every Wednesday, there is a Hump Day giveaway on my Twitter page, @Brodes81. It's pinned to the top of my profile. Right now, we are giving away a signed picture of Ron Jaworski. All you have to do is retweet the tweet and follow me. It's that simple. Every Wednesday, a winner is selected and a new giveaway is released. So easy. Go enter to win your chance to win a free signed picture of Ron Jaworski, the man, the myth, the legend. Don't kick yourself in the teeth here and be pissed off with yourself if you don't enter to win. It's a no-brainer. Brodes, the only pick the Phillies have lucked into was Alec Boehm. Yeah, Alec Boehm's a stud. We don't know much about Bryson Stott yet. Let's not say anything about Bryson Stott. No, he's a couple years away, in my opinion. But he's a name. And then Mick Abel. There's a lot of buzz around Mick Abel. Now, I know we always get a lot of buzz about a lot of our guys, and then they end up being bust. But there is a sense, for me at least, that things are changing, all right, with the drafting and all. But you changed. You changed your franchise. You changed your organization within. But Bryson Stott, someone I'm intrigued with, and who hit 356 that was in NCAA when he played for UNLV. He hit 356 in college in his last year. Insane. But Mick Abel's another one. I'm riding the Mick Abel train. Alec Pags, my man, comes in with the $10 donation. You're the best. Cheers to you. Thank you so much. Every single damn day. Unbelievable. You're amazing. Thank you. I can't stress it enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for the $10 donation. Broge, who is your favorite Philly of all time? All right, so favorite Philly is obviously different than best Philly, or do you mean Philly as in Philadelphia Phillies, or do you mean Philly as in the entire city? Because if it's the entire city, to be honest with you, the answer, it's not a sexy answer. My favorite Philly of all time in terms of all sports would be Simone Gagne. That's what I grew up loving. That's the sport I grew up just appreciating the most. It was the Flyer. So Simone Gagne was my favorite Philadelphia athlete of all the sports. In terms of the Philadelphia Phillies, it's probably got to be Chase Utley. How can it not be Chase Utley? It's got to be Chase Utley. Thank you so much for giving me the follow over on Twitch, JMM3121, Justin. And same with you, Jordan. Sorry, I can't. Sometimes it's hard for me to read. Hockey's the greatest sport of all time. Well, I do believe that it is underrated. Like last night, the Flyers played the Rangers. They haven't played in so long, and maybe some of the buzz was you don't have your full team. And look, Carson Wentz got traded. So clearly that's going to be the hot topic. That's going to be what everybody discusses. There should have been more talk about the Flyers. There should have been more buzz about the Flyers last night. There should have been. And look, there should have been during the game. I'm not saying before the game. Obviously, Carson Wentz is going to take the whole entire conversation, okay? During the game, I thought Philadelphia sports fans and Philadelphia Twitter should have been more engaged with the Flyers. There wasn't a Sixers game they were going up against it. There wasn't anything. You should have been more in on the Flyers. A little disappointed. Do you think Wentz will get number 11? I did think about that, Jordan, if he'd rock number 11. Does he have the pedigree to walk into a locker room and just demand a number? This isn't Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay and somebody moving around. Now, in sports, if you want your number, guess what? It costs you a Rolex. It costs you some G's, all right? But you can get your number. I don't know, though, if he's going to get it. He's also the quarterback position, so that does matter. Dominic, can you please chill out on spamming the chat? Please. Do we try to win this season or do we try and tank? Well, you try and win. Well, why would you try and do anything other than win? Try and win, right? I think that's what you want to do. I'm just going to put user in timeout. There's your costly timeout. Yeah, you want to try and win. All right, I don't want to hear this. Let's lose on purpose. No, see what? No. Why? This is where I have an issue with some fans. If you win, that means you're good enough where, like, that draft pick, like, if you're winning games and you're succeeding, that means you're a good team. You're saying you'd rather stink just to get a high draft pick than be a good team, right? Like, that's where I have the issue. If you're winning games, like, that means you might not need as many holes. Like, you're winning games. You're winning games. So why would you want to go against winning games? That tells you that maybe you're not as far off as you think. Maybe you're closer than what you think. So if next year they go 7-9, I wouldn't rather tank. 7-9 for Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, I'd actually be satisfied. If they gave me entertaining football and they go 7-9 or 6-10, and maybe it's not great in terms of what the eyes tell you statistically, 6-10, 7-9, but if that's what that means you're not as much of a disaster as you think. I'd rather not be as much of a disaster as you think than being that disaster and getting the high draft pick. But people really do feel that way. They do. Why does Twitch have better quality than YouTube? I really don't know. That's a great question. I really don't know. Brodes, Ertz. What are some of the other names you think could be traded? A couple Ertz questions were just worded funny today. Having trouble kind of picking up, but I understand where we're going at here. The one that I thought, look, if you could have put him together in a package with the Colts, that would have been a scary duo to see those two guys out there. What was the one name? The Seattle name was the one that popped off most recently. So I think in terms of Seattle being a name that has interest is one that stands out to me. Eagles need a new jersey for new identity. Yeah, I mean, look, the new identity is needed. That's for damn sure. Unfortunately, 50% of that identity is still in place, and they're the ones making the decisions. As in, they don't like bandwagon fans? What do you mean? As in, they don't? Brodes, do you think the low-key hockey fans are very protective of bandwagon fans? Yeah, I do think that is the case. They're not willing to open the arms to fans that are learning the game of hockey. Like, I'm all in. If you don't watch hockey, but you want to jump on the bandwagon, do it. I want you to get into hockey. I want you to learn the sport. I want you to become knowledgeable of the game. I want you to care about the Flyers. Why wouldn't I? I don't want to be that guy that says, oh, look, I don't want you here because you didn't watch all 82. Screw that. You didn't watch all 82? I don't care. Come on in for the ride of the playoffs. Playoff hockey's amazing. Brodes, thoughts on Ben Simmons so far this season? This is coming from Sports Talk with Brodes. Very creative name. I think that he pissed me off early on, and I think he's becoming a better version of himself. And hopefully this mentality change that he was talking about is the difference in him elevating his mindset and is the difference in him taking a step offensively. Who and what picks do you think we would have get for Wentz and Ertz? That's the thing. I don't think the package would have been much more because I think Ertz alone, if Ertz alone is worth a third, which I think it's in that category, maybe you get 2/3 and the conditional second. I don't think it would have been anything crazy. I don't think it would have been wild. I think it would have been maybe 2/3 and that second conditional pick that could be a first. So at the end of the day, you would have got a first round pick if it ends up in your favor like it should, and 2/3. I think maybe that's what it would have been. Why does every other team look so much more threatening on the power play than the Flyers do? The Flyers' power play makes me want to throw up. The Flyers' power play is garbage. I don't get it. It's not an excuse having none of your players yesterday. It's not an excuse. You need to be able to produce. Simplify it. Braves Ball 8 comes in with the $2 donation. Thanks for a good week. Phils need one more starter. Yeah, I think they're kind of where they are right now, though. I think this is who they are. I think this is what they're going to rock and roll with. Look, you might see something here, maybe minor there, but for the most part, this is what you're rocking and rolling with. And they might need one more. Maybe that one more starter, Spencer Howard, because in the beginning of the season, it's going to be Moore as your 4. It's going to be Anderson as your 5. So you say they need one more starter. Well, maybe that's him. And then you still have guys like Granger Suarez, who hasn't played in a little bit of time. He had the COVID problems. Can someone like that slip into your rotation and be a guy? I don't know. But thank you so much for the $2 donation. Do I think Jason Kelsey's coming back? Man, if there was a year for him to call it quits, it would be this one. If there was a year for him to be so disgusted with how things played out, it would be this one. I could also see it was so sour and it was so bad. Do you want to end your NFL career on this note? But you could also look at it from this way. Is this year going to be much better? I mean, could it be worse? Could it be worse? Probably not. Oh, it could be. It could be. That's a silly thing to say. It could be. But I can see it going both ways. Am I confident in the Phillies bullpen this year? More confident than I was last year. So there's your bonus. I feel better than I did last season. So take that for what it is. Do I think the Eagles will blow it up completely and trade most of the vets? They have to. No, not completely. They're not going to blow it up completely. They're going to have a mix of veterans with some of these younger guys and with the young coaching staff. But you are going to have to, based off of the cap space, you're going to have to get rid of some veterans. You're going to see some tough decisions. Brandon Graham and, Rob Motti even threw at us the other day that, hey, maybe even Hargrave. And I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. But you got to get rid of cap. They just signed Hargrave. That would be a tough look, but that's the situation that you're in. You're going to have to make tough decisions. So I think veterans are going to be off the books. I think you're going to move on from veterans, but not because of like, hey, we're blowing this whole thing up. I think they're going to keep who they can keep. They're not going to get rid of just everybody and their mother, but you're going to have to make a couple really brutal, harsh decisions that are changing your franchise big time. Would I trade Darius Slay? I did see a hypothetical thrown out there. If they, considering that where they're at, if they did, I'd have to see the package. If the package was something that made me feel comfortable, then I wouldn't be against it. But I'm not rooting for it. I don't think it should be a priority. I don't think it should be number one on the list. So I'm not pulling for it, and I don't want to see it happen. If it did happen, though, I would have to see the return. I wouldn't just write it off instantly. But does that mean you draft Surtain in the first round with that 6th overall pick and he slotted in and then you go, you're so limited. The problem is you're so limited in cap space. You're not going to be able to go out and grab all these players and go fix your holes. Avonte Maddox on the outside doesn't work. So if you do get Surtain and you give up Darius Slay, you have a huge hole at outside corner still. Yeah, Roby Coleman stunk. He had a 1-year deal anyway. Going back to the Phillies, Bradley is serviceable. Alvarado can be electric. Yeah, I'm pumped up to see Alvarado. I really am. I'm pumped up to see Alvarado. Sports Talk with Brodes with a little accent over the O comes in with a $2 donation. All the Colts players welcome Carson on Twitter. Yep. Of course they did, though. What do you think? They're going to rip him apart? They're not going to rip him apart. He was FaceTiming guys, and John Clark of NBC Sports Philadelphia put it up. He's smiling, and they're going to be excited, as you should be. I was thinking to myself, imagine being a Colts fan this morning. Imagine being a Colts fan yesterday afternoon, last night. You're pumped, man. You get Frank Reich, and you get him packaged up with Carson Wentz now. The expectations are high, and look, now it's pressure time. Now it's stress time. You got to go out and perform and do it. But if you're a Colts fan, you are stoked. You just got Carson Wentz, man. You just got Carson Wentz. Crazy. It really is. By the way, we have 1 minute remaining in the show. I just want to give a shout out to all of you that have stayed with me throughout the 1 hour. Every weekday, Monday through Friday, Coffee with Brodes is in action. Also on Fridays, look for this on Twitter, @Brodes81, the best of Brodes clips that will be thrown out there. A collage of the best of the week, pretty much, of things that vomited out of my mouth. So be on the lookout for that. retweet that, favorite that, like that, follow me. Be aware of everything on social media. Pretty much, I would say, if you want to keep up to date with what's happening, Twitter, @Brodes81. That's the best place to be to keep up with what's going on here, because I do have some big news coming within the next week or so. Some pretty big news that I'm excited to share, and I can't wait. I really can't wait. It's going to be crazy, and it's been crazy to this point as it is. So once again, thank you so much for hanging out with me every morning. The fact that I get to sit here, drink my coffee, well, half drink it, because the other half I'm sitting here talking sports, which is a great way to start my days. There's no doubt about it. I appreciate all of you. The support has been incredible. It's 10 o'clock. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you next time.